Anytime I go on a video about the god that is Rian Johnson, I always see one type of comment. I could be watching a video about Knives Out or hell, even Brick, but people still comment about the same thing. It's either Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy ruined the Star Wars franchise, or Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy fucked over the character of Luke Skywalker, and then also by doing that, they also fucked over the entire Star Wars franchise. And honestly, I never understood that part about Luke Skywalker. Yes, I know Luke acts very out of character for the majority of The Last Jedi, but I always feel like, in the context of the story, Luke acting like that made sense to me. Why? Well, to understand why I would think that, we need to take a trip back to 1977 when A New Hope released. In it, we get the famous scene where Luke asks Obi-Wan about his father, and Obi-Wan tells him that Vader killed Anakin.
He betrayed and murdered your father.
Then fast forward to 1980, while Yoda doesn't say Vader killed Anakin or something like that, he still willfully withholds this information from Luke. And hell, I don't know if he would have ever told Luke if Vader didn't do it himself. We also keep hearing Yoda tell Luke that the Force is not something to be used to kill, but rather something to be used in defense.
A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack.
Trying to manipulate him into killing his own father sounds pretty out of character for a Jedi, but he does it, and so does Obi-Wan. In Return of the Jedi, when Obi-Wan gets caught out on his bullshit for lying to Luke, he uses some bogus point of view defense.
But please know it's all true, from a certain point of view.
And when Luke still says he ain't gonna kill Anakin, he tries to manipulate him even farther into killing Vader.
Twisted and evil.
I can't do it, Ben.
You cannot escape your destiny. You must face Darth Vader again.
I can't kill my own father.
Then the Emperor has already won.
Anakin isn't reborn at the end of the movie because of what the Jedi taught Luke, or because of the Jedi at all. It's only because Luke defied the Jedi that Anakin's reborn. And he was able to become a Force ghost and redeem himself. And in the end, they just appear as Force ghosts and not equivalent, like it was what they wanted Luke to do the entire time. We don't get a lot of the Jedi in the original trilogy, mainly due to Anakin killing them all except Yoda and Obi-Wan, but what we do see paints the Jedi as hypocritical and not in the morally right. Then flash forward to 1999 and 2005, and we get an entire trilogy dedicated to just how the Jedi are the fucking worst. You thought this trilogy was about Anakin storming the dark side? Hell no! You gotta watch the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith for that, but the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and hell, even bits to Revenge of the Sith, it's just showcasing how fucking horrible the Jedi are. Let's take a look at what they do. In the Phantom Menace, they rip a young boy from his mother and then deny him. They're shown constantly manipulating people using their Jedi mind tricks because they seem as lesser people. In Attack of the Clones, they're so drunk on power, they even fucking question a clone army just randomly being given to them. Hell, Yoda even commands some of the troops. He's constantly saying make an exception and mowing people down and breaking their code. Mace Windu kills Jango Fett right in front of Boba. That's like killing someone's father in front of them. Revenge of the Sith, they constantly deny Anakin the massive rank of master, and then in fear of losing Padme, he turns to the dark side and kills the younglings. He turns to the dark side because of the emotions the Jedi was forcing him to bottle in. Padme was getting Anakin to calm down and come back to the light, but because of Obi-Wan's lapse in judgment and the fact that he decided to follow Padme, Anakin got pissed off and the whole fight of Mustafar happened. Even further, because Obi-Wan left Anakin to die without either taking him back or helping finish him off, and because he chose the coward's way out, he created Vader. Throughout their entire trilogy, because of their arrogance and hubris, Darth Sidious was able to rise and create the entire Empire. He was able to feed off not only their own weaknesses, but able to feed off of Anakin's emotion and help sway him from the dark side. Because without the Jedi treating Anakin like they did, he never would have turned. He was able to kill an entire Jedi Order because of their own arrogance and hubris, because they, for multiple times, broke their own code, because he was drunk on power. The Empire was created from the Jedi's failure. Flash forward a little bit, and Luke's a little bit more mad than he was before about learning the events of the prequels. These words be different. he begins training a new Jedi Order, where he lets his nephew Ben join, and while training Ben, Luke senses the dark side within Ben. He remembers how Obi-Wan trained and created Darth Vader. He was afraid of perpetuating that cycle, so he had a moment of hesitation, like try to kill Ben. To not make the same mistake Obi-Wan made prior to him. To not allow the creation of another empire. But he failed. He had a moment of weakness, and he was not actually prepared to kill Ben. That moment of weakness led to Ben knocking out Luke and performing his own Order 66 on the kids who didn't come with him. That moment of weakness is what allowed Snoke to get into Ben and to transform Ben into Kylo Ren. Luke saw the flaws of the Jedi and he swore he'd never make the same mistakes that they did. But he did. He was responsible for the training and creation of Kylo Ren, much like Obi-Wan was the Vader. And also much like Yoda at the end of Revenge of the Sith, Luke felt like he failed. He sent himself into exile on Ahch-To, because he was realizing he was actually perpetrating the cycle of failure. And that failure was the legacy of the Jedi. Luke began to feel like the Jedi should die, and finally die, not be reborn by some kid 18 years later. So he cut himself off from the Force. Flash forward a little bit more, and Rey shows up, and whenever Luke begins to train her in the ways of the Force, she almost immediately goes to the dark side, which already makes Luke worry of creating another Kylo Ren. Then, Rey has a FaceTime session with Kylo, and Luke completely exiles her from Ahch-To. He was beginning to be afraid of making the same mistake with Rey that he made with Ben. And hell, if Rey wasn't the incorruptible good she was, she may have well became another Kylo and actually turned to the dark side and accepted his offer. Luke decided to set the temple on fire and finally kill the legacy of the Jedi when Yoda tells him, yeah, we failed, dog. We messed up. We allowed the Empire to happen. We need to take that failure and learn from it. Which was the entire theme of The Last Jedi. Failure, and learning from that failure, and persevering through that failure. But later, the theme is to clearly let the past die. It is stated multiple times. Kylo Ren says that. Kylo Ren. He says it to Rey. Kylo Ren's the villain, and Rey's the hero. So if we break that scene down to a very, very basic standard, the villain tries to persuade the hero to join the dark side. Yeah. I think there's a reason that the villain would say it to the hero. And it's that moment that Luke realizes that while he and the rest of the Jedi failed, and honestly the Jedi was the fucking worst, that's not the legacy. To him, yeah, it was, but to Rey, to the rebellion, to the entire galaxy, it was hope. So Luke decides to sacrifice himself in a true Jedi way.
A Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack.
It's fitting in the movie that once Luke finally learns to embrace the legacy of the Jedi and create a new legacy for himself and the Jedi, no one else in the movie dies except for him. No lightsabers ever clash, because technically he and Kylo was faking it. Well, he was faking it with Kylo. His actions inspire an entire galaxy and a new generations of heroes. His sacrifice is what helped respark the rebellion when the flame was beginning to fade out. Because Luke decided to learn from his failure and embrace the past instead of letting it die, everything else, the galaxy was safe. So yeah, I do agree that Luke acted different in Last Jedi, but I think it worked. I think it made sense.